Good morning, everyone. There's a rupture forming in the membrane of your ordinary life, and what's about to tear through won't fit back into the shape of who you were. I'm not talking about pleasant surprises. I'm not talking about incremental improvement. I'm talking about the kind of event that splits your timeline into before and after. The kind that makes you look at photographs of yourself from last month and barely recognize the person staring back. Something is gathering mass in the invisible architecture around you, and your nervous system already knows. You didn't stumble into this transmission. You were pulled here because there's a frequency building in your field that needed naming before it detonates. The intelligence that governs synchronicity doesn't waste its precision. You're here because somewhere in your cellular memory, you're preparing for impact. Feel your feet on the floor right now, because what I'm about to expose isn't comfortable. It's not gentle, but comfort isn't what's being offered to you right now. Transformation is. And transformation doesn't ask permission, it announces itself through the collapsing of everything you thought was stable. The oracle is showing me fracture lines, not in your external world yet, but in the energetic scaffolding that's been holding your current reality in place. There's pressure building, the kind that precedes earthquakes, the kind that animals sense before humans register it consciously. You felt it, that restlessness that won't name itself, that sense of waiting for something you can't identify, that tension in your chest when you wake up at 3 a.m. and your body knows something your mind keeps explaining away. That's not anxiety, that's recognition. Your system responding to seismic activity in realms you don't have language for yet. Your throat just tightened reading that, didn't it? Let me reveal what's actually building in the space around you right now. There's a convergence occurring. Multiple trajectories that have been running parallel are about to intersect, and the point of intersection, that's where you're standing. Not by accident, not by luck, by the mathematics of every choice you've made in the last year that your conscious mind has already forgotten, but your energy field cataloged. I'm receiving imagery of tectonic plates. They move so slowly you can't perceive the motion until suddenly they don't move slowly anymore, until suddenly there's rupture, until suddenly the landscape reorganizes itself and what was solid ground becomes something unrecognizable. That's the frequency I'm reading in your field. Slow accumulation reaching critical mass. Now, here's what most people misunderstand about moments like this. They think the big event is the beginning. It's not, it's the culmination. You've been building toward this for longer than you realize. Every time you chose differently than your pattern demanded, every time you held a boundary you would have collapsed before, every time you didn't explain yourself to people who weren't asking in good faith. Those weren't small moments. Those were tectonic shifts, invisible to observers, foundational to you. And now the structure built on those shifts is about to become visible, not just to you, to everyone. Drop a knife emoji in the comments if something just clicked into place that you've been avoiding looking at directly. Let me go deeper into what this big thing actually reads like in the cards. For some of you, this is vocational, not a job offer. A calling that's been whispering is about to start screaming. The thing you've been treating as a side interest, as a someday dream, as the thing you'll do when you're ready, it's about to demand your full attention whether you feel ready or not. The cards don't show this as gentle invitation. They show it as disruption, as the current path becoming suddenly untenable, as doors you were walking through starting to close, while doors you weren't even looking at swing wide open with a force that feels violent. You're going to have to choose. And the choice is going to feel like losing something to gain everything. That's the price. That's always the price when the universe decides you've outgrown your container. For others, this is relational, but not in the way you've been hoping. I'm seeing severance, clean, surgical, necessary. Someone who's been occupying space in your life is about to exit, not through slow fade, through sudden absence. And here's the part that's going to hurt before it heals. You're going to feel relief underneath the grief. Because part of you has known for months that this connection was draining you in ways you kept justifying as normal. Part of you has been waiting for permission to let go. And this event, it's the permission, it's the universe doing the cutting you didn't have the courage to do yourself. For some, this is locational, physical relocation that happens faster than you can plan for. The place you've been living is about to become uninhabitable, not literally necessarily, but energetically. You're going to wake up one day and the space that used to feel like home is going to feel like a cage you can't tolerate another minute inside. And you're going to move. Not because it's logical, not because you have everything figured out, because staying will cost you more than leaving. Something in your solar plexus just contracted, didn't it? Now, let me address what the cards are warning about specifically. There's a pattern in your field that reads like resistance, like you've been feeling this pressure building and you've been trying to manage it, trying to slow it down, trying to negotiate with fate for a gentler timeline. But the cards don't suggest negotiation is possible here. What's coming has its own momentum now, and your attempts to control the pace are only increasing the pressure, like holding your breath underwater. You can do it for a while, but eventually your body overrides your will and forces you to surface. That forced surfacing, that's what this big event feels like. Your system deciding it's done, waiting for your conscious mind to catch up. Here's the brutal truth the oracle wants exposed. You've been stalling. Not consciously, maybe, but there's a part of you that knows what needs to happen and has been finding reasons why not yet makes sense. Why you need more time, more certainty, more resources, more proof that it'll work out. But more time isn't making you more ready. It's making you more entrenched in a reality that's already expired. And the universe, the universe is losing patience, not because it's punishing you, because there's a window here, an opening in the fabric of possibility. And that window doesn't stay open indefinitely. What's about to happen is the window starting to close. And you either move through it now or you watch it seal shut and spend the next year wondering what would have happened if you'd been braver. Comment, I see it, if your body just confirmed something your mind has been denying. Let me reveal what this event requires from you. First, stop trying to prepare for it. You can't. The nature of rupture is that it doesn't wait for readiness. It creates readiness by forcing adaptation in real time. All the ways you've been trying to get your ducks in a row, trying to have everything figured out before you move, that's delay masquerading as responsibility. That's fear wearing the costume of prudence. The cards suggest that what's coming will provide what you need as you need it, not before, not in the comfortable sequence you prefer, but in the exact moment necessity demands it. So your preparation isn't logistical, it's psychological. It's making peace with the fact that You're about to step into a level of uncertainty that your control mechanisms can't manage. Second, grieve what's ending. Don't skip this. Don't spiritually bypass it with everything happens for a reason platitudes. What's about to shift is going to take things from you: people, places, identities, securities. And even if those things were limiting you, they were also familiar. And familiarity feels like safety even when it's actually suffocation. You're allowed to mourn the version of your life that's dissolving. You're allowed to be terrified of what replaces it. Fear doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Fear means you're human and you're being asked to evolve faster than your nervous system was designed to handle. Feel it, all of it. Let it move through you instead of storing it in your body where it'll calcify into chronic tension. Third, don't perform certainty you don't feel. There's going to be pressure from yourself, from others to look like you have this handled, to act confident, to pretend you know exactly what you're doing. Resist that pressure. The cards suggest that your authenticity in this moment is what determines whether you walk through this transformation or get destroyed by it. You don't need to know what's on the other side. You just need to be honest that you don't know. That honesty creates space for guidance to enter. Pretending you're certain when you're not blocks the very intuition you need to navigate what's coming. Now, let me address the shadow side of what's approaching. There's a seduction in big events, a part of us that craves disruption because disruption feels like meaning, feels like finally something's happening instead of the slow grind of ordinary existence. But disruption isn't inherently valuable. And the cards are showing me that there's a risk here of you romanticizing the chaos, of getting addicted to the intensity, of mistaking upheaval for growth when sometimes upheaval is just upheaval. So here's the discernment you need. Is this event asking you to grow, or is it asking you to finally face something you've been running from? There's a difference. Growth is expansion, facing is reckoning. And reckoning always hurts more before it heals, because reckoning requires you to see your own participation in what's been hurting you. I'm sensing that for many of you, this big thing that's coming isn't just happening to you, it's happening because of you, because of choices you've made or avoided making, because of boundaries you didn't hold, because of truths you didn't speak when speaking them would have been uncomfortable but necessary. And now the universe is cleaning up what you left unresolved, not as punishment, as course correction, as the natural consequence of energy that wasn't moved when it needed to be moved. That's hard to hear, I know, but the cards don't comfort, they expose. And what needs exposing right now is your own agency in what's unfolding. Your jaw just clenched, didn't it? That's the part of you that wants to argue, that wants to insist this is all external, all happening to innocent you. But innocence is a story, and that story is keeping you from the power you actually have here. Let me tell you what happens if you resist what's coming. The pressure increases, not because the universe is cruel, because pressure is the mechanism. Pressure is what forces transformation when willingness isn't present. If you dig your heels in, if you try to keep your current life on life support, if you negotiate for just a little more time in the familiar, the event gets bigger, louder, more disruptive. I'm seeing the imagery of a dam. Small cracks appear first. If those cracks are addressed, the dam can be reinforced without catastrophe. But if those cracks are ignored, if they're plastered over, if they're denied, eventually the dam doesn't crack, it breaks, and everything downstream gets flooded. You're at the crack stage, the event that's building, and it's the universe showing you the cracks, asking you to dismantle the dam yourself before pressure does it for you. But most people don't dismantle dams. Most people wait until they have no choice, until the structure collapses and they're standing in the wreckage wondering how it got so bad. Don't be most people. See the cracks. Acknowledge them. Start the dismantling before you're forced to. Tell me in the comments if this just named something you've been feeling but refusing to look at directly. Now let me reveal what's possible on the other side of this rupture if you move with it instead of against it. There's a version of your life that's been waiting in potential, not as fantasy, as actual possibility that couldn't materialize while you were still holding the shape of who you've been. The cards suggest that this big event isn't destroying your life, it's destroying the limitations you've been calling your life. It's clearing space for something that couldn't fit in the old container. But here's the catch. You won't see that new possibility until after you've let go of the old one. The universe doesn't show you the landing before it asks you to jump. It requires faith, not blind faith, earned faith. Faith built on every other time you trusted the process and it delivered you somewhere better than where you started. This is that moment again. Bigger scale, higher stakes, same requirement. Trust that there's ground beneath the leap even though you can't see it yet. I'm receiving imagery of a snake shedding skin. The old skin doesn't come off clean. It's itchy, uncomfortable. The snake has to scrape against rocks, against rough surfaces to get the dead layer off. And during that process, the snake is vulnerable, exposed, uncomfortable in its own body. That's where you are, in the shedding. And it's not graceful, it's not pretty, but it's necessary because the skin you're in no longer fits the size you've grown to. And trying to stay in skin that doesn't fit, that's suffocation, that's slow death, that's choosing familiar misery over unknown possibility. So, as we close this transmission, here's what the cards want you to anchor into your bones. Something big is building, not coming, building, already in motion, already gathering the momentum that will make it undeniable. You can't stop it. You can only choose how you meet it. You can resist and get dragged, or you can move with it and let it carry you. Neither choice is wrong, but one is significantly more painful than the other. And pain without purpose is just suffering. Pain with purpose is initiation. This is your initiation into the version of yourself you've been avoiding becoming because becoming her means losing everyone who only knew how to love the smaller you. That loss is real. That grief is valid. But staying small to keep people comfortable is a death you'll feel every single day for the rest of your life. The big thing that's coming is your chance to live instead of slowly dying in the shape of other people's expectations. Your whole body just exhaled, didn't it? Comment what you felt when I said that. You were guided here because you needed to hear this before the pressure becomes unbearable, because you needed confirmation that what you're sensing is real, because you needed permission to stop resisting and start surrendering to what's trying to emerge. The rupture is coming. The question isn't if, the question is, will you be crushed by it or transformed by it? That choice, that's the only thing you control here. Everything else is already in motion. Stand in your fear, feel its texture, Let it inform you, but not imprison you. And when the moment comes, when the ground shifts beneath you, when the familiar dissolves and the unknown rushes in to fill the space, remember, you were built for this, not because you're special, because you're here. And being here means you're already in the crucible, whether you feel ready or not. The cards don't guarantee comfort, they only guarantee transformation for those willing to be undone. Are you willing? Comment your answer. The universe is listening. Gratitude for receiving this transmission. The rupture is already here. You're standing in it right now. What happens next? That's on you.